But we begin this morning looking back at Superstorm Sandy, following the 3-year anniversary when the storm rolled ashore. TV 1055's Carolyn Gussoff has the story of the recovery that is still unfolding.
It came up to around here, the water line.
5 feet of seawater destroyed the Amarosas Island Park home.
We lost everything. Anything that we did salvage, we put in a storage pod, and then a couple of months later, that storage pod flooded.
Now, 3 years after the storm, the family is still not home.
She goes to a friend's house, and they play in the bedroom, and she comes home and says, "Where's my bedroom?" So it's heartbreaking.
Lives in limbo, their house a work in progress. While being elevated, they can't live here. There's no siding, heat, or hot water. From hotels to rentals, now they're living with relatives an hour away each day, driving son Joey with special needs to his Island Park school.
I'm paying taxes and mortgage on a house I haven't lived in 3 years, so it's time that we go home.
While most Long Island storm victims have by now rebuilt, elevated, abandoned, sold out, or moved away, the Amarosas still long for the finish line.
It's been challenging, to say the least, that we've been waiting and waiting and waiting.
It's taken a while. It always will. It's the type of program that has to be monitored. We have to do it right.
The head of New York Rising, an agency built from scratch in the storm's aftermath to invest $4 billion in recovery, says nearly all of the 14,000 Long Island victims who applied for government grants have received awards.
The next storm that comes in, thousands of people will be in a position where the water will go under their house and not through their house.
Evidence of that investment throughout Island Park, but the mayor still works out of a makeshift village hall, helping the 24 families who are still not home.
It's going to be a while, but it's a positive. It's not like the outset where, oh my goodness, what's going to happen now? It's more like, hey, this is terrific. We're going forward.
The Amarosas among them, waiting for the last installment of grant money to complete their elevation. Their patience remarkably intact.
At the end of the day, we're together. You know, we're all together as a family, and that's what's important. This is just a house.
Carolyn Gussoff, TV 1055.
And here with us now is Gwen O'Shea. She's the head of the Health and Welfare Council of Long Island. Welcome to the show. And of course, you guys are involved in helping people out. Explain what the Health and Welfare Council of Long Island is. I know you've gotten about $6 million in charitable money that you're handing out to people. How many people are you helping?
We are helping hundreds of people on Long Island. We are really a safety net for so many vulnerable and at-risk families. I wish we could be helping all of the individuals that are still managing the recovery, but the philanthropic dollars available to those impacted by Sandy really pale in comparison to the amount of resources that the government has been made available.
Well, how do you rate the recovery so far then? It's been more than 3 years.
It's hard to believe that it's been 3 years since Sandy hit our shores. You know, it's an interesting question, because I think that as New Yorkers, we have this immediacy, this urgency to address needs and want things done very quickly. But the reality is, a storm of this scope, scale, and magnitude, really for a full recovery to take place, experts say it will be at least 7 years from the time the storm hit us. So while it's hard to believe and it's painful, in particular for people related to their homes, that piece I think we can do a better job collectively addressing. But from an infrastructure perspective, from really creating a community that can speak to resiliency moving forward, we have a number of years ahead of us.
What still needs to be done?
There's a tremendous amount that needs to be done, but I think one of the most important pieces that we need to focus on as a community is really recognizing the ramifications on individuals, in particular vulnerable individuals that have been displaced for 3 years. And the focus of the conversation has been around infrastructure and how do we put people's homes back together. But we also have to have a conversation around and recognize what that means to an individual's financial health and more important, to their mental health of dealing with this chaotic situation of an unknown on a daily basis.
Well, we hear estimates of 1,000 to 2,000 homes that still need some level of repair. Some are minor, some are much more major. And you see it all over the place. And many of these people are caught up in the tangles right now with additional paperwork or fighting over whether they got enough from their insurance company or whether they have to pay FEMA back if they do wind up getting some from their insurance company, which most people shake their heads back. They call it clawback. So, I mean, is it likely that these people that have these remaining homes are going to have the money to be able to fix them, or are we going to be looking at eyesores down the road here?
I think it's going to be a combination of both, quite frankly, because the other piece that we have to take into consideration, Long Island was in a very compromised economic position before Sandy hit. It was in the worst economic situation we had seen in history. High number of home foreclosures, high level of unemployment, individuals struggling to get by. When you now talk about individuals being displaced out of their home, having new costs, you know, they have to rebuild their homes, they're living on a friend's couch or in an apartment where they're now having to eat out every night, and this adds to people's bills. That exacerbates the situation, not just from a financial perspective, but also a mental health perspective.
You know, the people over at New York Rising, who you know have done their best, but it got a late start. It was almost a year before they were really fully staffed again in responding to the issue. And there's a tremendous amount of paperwork. From their defense, they point out that Congress put in a lot of new rules to safeguard against, you know, anybody trying to rip off the government and make a claim that it wasn't legitimate, following what happened at Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, where there was a lot of fraud involved. Has that handicapped the response effort?
Yeah, I think it's a really difficult balancing act in terms of, we had congressional representatives that did a tremendous job in terms of securing the highest amount of resources that have ever been available in this nation to a region impacted by a storm. However, at the same time, we know that the public, and rightfully so, wants to ensure that government dollars are used for the intention and the purposes that they've been allocated for. One of the biggest challenges that we're seeing, quite frankly, is fraud on the side of contractors, other workers, whether it's senior citizens that are coming to us and have lost $30,000, $50,000, homeowners that put down a deposit and the contractor has left town. They weren't individuals that were from Long Island. So while we're putting in a lot of safeguards, we also are seeing that there are a lot of challenges that individuals are facing.
Well, you deal with these government agencies yourself, and that are trying to help out, and everybody is well-intentioned for the most part. Do you see a flaw in the government response that could still be fixed at this point?
I think there's an opportunity. One of the things we have learned from our decade-plus, or almost 15 years now, work in the disaster planning and response phase is there is an inordinate amount of expertise and strength that the nonprofit, the voluntary sector brings to disaster recovery and response. And I think there's still an opportunity for government to partner with the agencies that are on the ground, that are trusted community partners, that understand how to navigate this rebuild process that's unbelievably complex.
Well, you have this new landscape out there with all these raised homes. You know, it's kind of like go up and down the block and you see it, one house after the other. It's almost like a staircase effect, though. But that creates a challenge for local officials, because this has put a burden on them for their zoning, hasn't it?
Absolutely. One of the pieces that has been the most challenging is navigating through the complex layers of Long Island, from municipalities to towns to different licensing to ordinances to different requirements. That it is a difficult process, a time-consuming process, and one of the challenges I think that this presents, or opportunities for us, is to look at who we are as a community, and from a housing stock perspective as we move forward, what makes the most sense as we talk about rebuilding and resiliency.
Well, the maze goes on for, unfortunately, more than a few people, but there are folks out there who are lending a helping hand, including the folks with Gwen O'Shea over at the Health and Welfare Council of Long Island. You can contact them to see if somehow you qualify
Absolutely.
for charitable aid. And we want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.